Okay, so we're given the total sales of a company in millions of dollars. T months from now are given by this formula, S of T, so my sales is a function of time, my months from now, 9 times the square root of T plus 1. And so basically what you're going to want to find is the derivative, and then we're going to evaluate the function 15 months from now. Then we're going to evaluate the derivative 15 months from now. And then we'll use all that to also find, I can get that to erase, the value 16 months from now. Okay, so to find the derivative is this over and over and over, the limit as h goes to 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. So you're just using this formula over and over and over. In this case, of course, these are t's. Okay, if you don't like t's, some students get weird and they're like, well, I don't know what to do with t's. I like h's or x's. Leave them as x's, doesn't matter. So basically what I'm doing is where I see a t, I'm going to plug in t plus h. Well, I still have the plus 1. And then where I see a t, I just plug in a t. So that just always matches. And then, of course, I still have this limit as h goes to 0. All right, so I want to figure out a way, something I can do, because I can't plug in h as 0 because of that bottom. I'll be dividing by 0. So anytime you see anything with roots like this, what I can do is multiply what's called the conjugate. So the conjugate is this same thing but the opposite, meaning a plus. So I'm going to multiply 9 square roots of t plus h plus 1 plus 9 square roots of t plus 1. And if I don't want to change the problem, so I'm going to multiply the same thing on the bottom, because what that's really doing is this whole piece right here. If you have the same thing over the same thing, that equals 1, right? So I'm not changing the problem. All right, so let's multiply all this out. And what happens so nicely, when you multiply, you're foiling the first piece by this first piece. 9 times 9 is 81. When you multiply a square root times a square root, the square root goes away. So that's kind of nice. Then if you continue to FOIL this, you would see the middle term ends up canceling. So you kind of get used to that. You cancel the middle term. And then last, I multiply this negative 9 square roots of t plus 1 times positive. So that's going to be a minus. 9 times 9 is 81. And again, the square root ends up canceling, because square root times a square root. The bottom, I have h, and I still have all of this business here. So 9t plus h plus 1 plus 9t plus 1. All right, so I haven't done anything with the bottom. Okay, so the top, let's go ahead and distribute these 81s and negative 81s. So I get equals the limit as h goes to 0 of 81t plus 81h plus 81 minus 81t minus 81 all over the same stuff on the bottom. T plus h plus 1 plus 9 square root of t plus 1. Well, if you've been watching my videos and paying attention, I said what better happen is everything on the top better cancel if it does not have an h. If it doesn't, you did something wrong with your algebra and you need to go back up here and see what happened. So I see the 81t and the minus 81t canceled. 81 and minus 81 cancel. Well, now I can even cancel the h, which makes it so nice because I end up with an 81 at the top. On the bottom, I end up with this business because the h canceled. And now I can actually let my h approach 0. So I'm going to end up with 9t plus 8. Oh, sorry, plus 1 because I let h go to 0. Plus 9t plus 1. And so on the bottom, this is going to end up being 9 plus 9 is 18. T plus 1. And I can make this look a little bit better by dividing out a 9 on the top and the bottom. All I'm doing is reducing it. So this equals 9 over 2 square roots of t plus 1. So what this is, remember, this is the derivative as a function. So from here, I'm asked next to find s of 15. There's no prime on that, so that means go back to the original problem, and where you see a t, plug in a 15. So that's 9 square root of 16. Square root of 16 is 4, so that'd be 36. Then it says find s prime of 15. Well, that's my derivative that I just found. So where I see a t, I plug in a 15. So I get 9 over 2 square roots of 16, which is 9 over 2 times 4, which is 9 over 8. And if I get my trusty little calculator out, I see that's 1.125. because they tell you to type it as an integer or a decimal. Okay, so then the last piece says find s of 16. Well, if you know what s of 15 was, which it was 36, and you know the rate, this is the rate, this is the derivative that it's changing per month, then I could just simply add those two pieces together. And so if I add them together, I get 37.125, and that tells me what s of 16 would be. I could actually continue to do this if I wanted to find s of 17. The only difference is I'd do 2 times, because that's 2 months later, right? And that's important that you're understanding what you're finding when you're finding the derivative is you're finding that rate of change. And if I multiply all that out, I get 38.25.